Notifications off. We should be live.
All right, let me have a look. Hello, Facebook, if we're live.
There it is. 100 not out.
We
live
are.
now. Yep.
That's so good. Turn that one down. Oh, that's so good.
Down. Done.
Hi, Facebook. Big exciting day today, Damo, isn't it?
Wow. Can you believe this? I'm just gonna.
It's when you reflect. I don't want to say too much before we hit record, but when you reflect on 8 years, a lot has happened over 8 years. That would be a good topic to talk about today. It's the power of reflection. What is old is new again.
Yeah.
And reflection. We'll just do it naturally because a lot has happened in 8 years.
I know, right? I'm just. You know what's interesting about this is something. Wow. I reckon that's interesting. Okay, cool.
Cool.
Done.
We're right.
Woohoo! Julie Hill says, woohoo! Hey, you two. Congratulations. Thanks, Jules. Thank you.
Good on you, Julie. I think, again, my... it looks like Skype call recorder's not playing today, so I might have to rely on your recording.
Okay.
Legend, sorry. I'll make a note to follow that up. Call recorder.
Pete's here.
Nice. So we can start.
Yeah, now we can start. He's here on time. Well, we're late.
We're celebrating the 8th birthday of 100 Not Out today.
Yeah, he's asking, what are we doing?
Yep, it's a celebratory
anything special
episode. Well, maybe he's being,
facetious.
Facetious, that's it. And which my kids hate when I use the H word. They hate facetious tones in their parents.
Really?
They do not like it one little bit.
Wow.
I want to shake them and tell them to lighten up, but I know that's not the appropriate response. Particularly after a long day of school, is it, kids?
No. Julie's come back with a nice flat bat. Bang! Always special, Peter. Cop that, Pete.
So good. So good. A bit of inter-listener viewer banter.
I love it. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. All righty. Here we go. You ready to rock?
Yep. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And to you too. Are you congratulating me on my 100 Not Out's birthday?
Yeah.
I'll send you my sincere congratulations too. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to 100 Not Out, a weekly show dedicated to helping you master the art of aging well. Marcus Pearce here with you for this very special 8th birthday edition. Time now to celebrate with Australia's #1 wellness expert, my brother from another mother, my 100 Not Out teammate. Happy 100 Not Out birthday, Dr. Damien Christoph.
Piercy, thank you so much. Congratulations, 416 episodes, bang, done. 8 years, still feel fresh as a daisy. I can't believe at 39 I was worried about getting old. And here we are. I'm 47, and I'm feeling good. I feel better now than what I did when I was 39. And you reflect on all of that. You reflect on where time has gone. I was playing with some golf balls the other day, and the number 47 was the number on the golf ball, right? And I was like, why? How did I ever end up with 47s like on golf balls? I just bought like this pack of golf balls. Then it occurred to me I was 47 years old. I don't feel 47 years old. Needless to say, it doesn't feel like we are 8 years old. It feels like we're just beginning because it's so much fun. I look forward to this every single week. I really do, PC. I love it. And thank you so much for getting it going. Thanks for getting it going. You're the best.
Oh, look,
You're the best.
Pleasure. It's been a big 8 years. And like you said, reflection is the name of the game. There's a lot to reflect on. I also think that without making this episode too self-indulgent, it does give me great pleasure to say, at least for the next 6 or 8 weeks, that this episode is proudly brought to you by the 100 Not Out Longevity Experience. They're back, baby. And it's this time in 2021. It's in Byron Bay. We're officially up and running. You can apply to join us in Byron Bay, May 16 to 22 this year. Head on over to 100notout.com, which is all very exciting. But Damo, you said it at the top, reflections. It's a really powerful, any birthday, anytime, particularly annualized, is a great time to reflect. But I think it would also be remiss of me not to say that at the moment, given the life that a lot of us, particularly in Australia and New Zealand, are living, it is a bit of, which is very in line with our 8th birthday, that what is old is new again. What you've just said is you're feeling as fresh as a daisy, which I concur 8 years in. But I feel like on a social level, a lot of people, hopefully, are feeling similarly, if that's such a word. You're just back from a holiday. I think you were tempted to go on about 12 holidays in the last 12 months. Every single one of them was cancelled. Borders were blocked. You were shut out until you finally escaped to Tasmania. Do you feel that everything is old is new again? You no longer have to go to Paris or Ikaria to have a good time. You can skip on over to Tassie and enjoy the simple pleasures?
Yeah, I do. As much as I miss European travel, I also really like the idea that we're traveling locally. Like, I went on a holiday to Tasmania, and I've spoken about going to Tasmania for years. Like Amber and I have said, let's go to Tassie, let's go to Tassie, but it never really happens. Like we end up going, we're chasing the sun, we chase the summers. We kind of go, places. And if I go to Tasmania, I go down there with the boys and we play golf at Barnbougle. So we never get down to Hobart and see all of this amazing stuff. And traveling around Tasmania felt like I was traveling around New Zealand. Like it felt so great. And you're reminded of the beauty of Australia, like the majesty of Australia. It's just unbelievable. We went to this little place yesterday called Boathouse Bay, I think it was called, not far from Stanley, which is this amazing little, town in Tasmania on the northwest coast. And and the water there was so crystal clear. I felt like I was in far north Queensland. The sun was beaming down. It wasn't hot, but it was just so clean. And you're just reminded that Australia's got it, like in terms of all the places in the world to go, Australia's got it. And I just love that. And then there's this article I was reading in the Herald yesterday, and it said, do we want Bali to be back to where it was, like this holiday destination? And I was showing how the Balinese are now not doing tourism anymore. They're back on the farms and doing all this sort of stuff. And so that's all. The old is now new, like what you're saying. Old habits of where we used to travel locally, domestically, enjoying what we've got, seeing what we've got in our own backyard. It feels really good. It feels really good. I like it. And, interesting because we were going to Bali this time last year and then that got cancelled, right, because of COVID. In fact, this week marks the anniversary of when we received a letter from Kingston Heath from my golf club saying, you're not allowed to play golf anymore. And we're like, what? We can't play golf? What are you talking about? For a sniffle. And so we weren't able to play golf. Anyway, then as a result of that, we had to cancel Bali. Then we thought we'll go to Whitsundays. We'll go to Hayman. That got cancelled. Then we thought, let's go to Byron. That got cancelled. And so, it was good to get away to Tassie and have a nice little break. It's beautiful, actually.
And I know you probably don't want me to say this, and this is not about you, but it's about all of us. If it wasn't for the events of the last 12 months, this love affair with our country may have been stifled in exchange for a continued and growing love affair for Bali and other places that we do go to more regularly. And as inconvenient as all of those thousands of dollars in travel credits that many of us have, which how many times around Australia can I go with those Jetstar travel credits that I paid a fortune for trips to Bali? I think it's really important that we own that, one, it's okay, and two, it can almost be a joyous thing to actually enjoy that everything that is old is new again, and to really embrace that. It's a wonderful thing. And I loved, just for listeners and viewers watching and listening, Damo, called me the other day and said, I was picking up Maya from ballet, and not allowed to do that. Picking up Maya from ballet, and Damo said, "Call me or FaceTime me when you park, because I want to show you where I am." And you wanted to show me the vista, and you wanted to show me some of the architecture and some of the gardens and the greenery. And it was like, again, you're one of the most patriotic people I know, but it was beautiful to watch. It was like, here's a guy who loves where he is right now, just in love with his surrounds. And I almost feel like we became, as a society, like overly precious and almost snobby about where we went.
Mm.
now we've really found a way to, essentially fall in love with our backyard even more.
Yeah, and isn't that nice? Isn't that refreshing? Like I think that's a really great thing. And I called you from Stanley. I was in the garden at Stanley. We stayed in this really beautiful little cottage at Ships Inn. Shout out to Ships Inn, because I think you've created something that's just absolutely gorgeous, and it's a must. Like, for anybody who just wants to get away and have a little, weekend getaway in Stanley in Tasmania, do it. It's worth it. But I wanted to share that with you. And I think that quite often, whilst a lot of people share what's going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever else, and that might pave the way for jealousy or pave the way for envy or anything else, I legitimately just thought, I want to share this, and I thought, I'm going to get on the phone. Imagine getting on the phone and sharing something.
The old-fashioned phone call. No, yes. It's a video call.
Well, now it's a video call, right? But I mean, I'm so hip. That's so now, right? So that's kind of, I'm going to do a FaceTime call with Piercy just so that I can show him what it is that I'm experiencing. Whereas in the past, we might have called up somebody and said, this is what I'm doing. What got lost over the last, let's say, 15 years since Facebook's been going is people shared their events on Facebook, but only ever showed the highlight reel. And I listened to Murray and Ravi on Before the Dip, and they often talk about highlight reels, and it's not really what people are experiencing and all that sort of stuff. And it felt good to pick up the phone and just share with you, which is nice. That's the old becoming the new, like exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. I want to ask you, because I'm conscious of the gold 8 and the happy birthday behind you that you have erected in celebration of 100 Not Out's 8th birthday.
Yes.
It is golden in colour. And I know I ask this on pretty much every birthday episode, but I just checked the downloads the other day because Joseph, our wonderful editor, and condolences to Joseph, who recently lost his mother. Joseph sent through the stats over 663,000 downloads, DJK, of 100 Not Out.
Seriously?
Over these 8 years. Yep. That's 660-odd thousand.
Why aren't we getting called up by Spotify?
I signed that $400 million deal. I just didn't tell you. Sorry. Forgot to include your signature.
Wow.
But the thing is, I want to know, what is if you could only choose one golden nugget of the 416 episodes, and it could be a theme or it could be a thing, but let's just be clear, you were 39, not pumped to turn 40, and you're now 47, looking, feeling better than you were 8 years ago. I'm going to put words into your mouth here. But what is if someone came along and said, what's the one thing you've learnt over those 8 years of recording, how would you put it into words?
I reckon, and I know I'm saying reckon a lot, and I know that some people don't like the word reckon, but I think that for me, it's to relax a bit more, like to not be so over analytic about stuff. Like, you can look at diet, you can look at exercise, you can look at biohacking, take all the supplements you like, you can do all of that sort of stuff, but to take a chill pill and to go easy on yourself, be kinder to yourself, I think is the key thing. So, whether it's CrossFit or running or swimming or cycling or whatever it is, like if you're going hard out and it becomes a chore or it's not good anymore, like it's time to pull the pin, like it's time to pull up stumps. It's funny, I feel like I'm talking about a podcast I've just listened to today, right? But I don't mean to. For me, it's about taking it a bit easier on yourself. And the reason why I talk about that, because I was reflecting the other day about when I was on television in New Zealand, and I became so conscious and hyper conscious and self-conscious about what people would see, what the optics were around me being in public eating. I wouldn't go out to eat anymore, and I wouldn't go and buy my ice cream, which is one of my loves. I love eating ice cream, particularly vanilla ice cream, and I wouldn't go and do those sorts of things. I was so hard on myself that became quite stressful. And then I became so over analytical about my diet that I continue to eat the same thing over and over and over and over again, which of course we know if you don't get variety in your diet, that's not very good for your microbiome, your gastrointestinal system, etc., etc. And then that becomes unhealthful. So the stress around diet, the stress around lifestyle, the stress around having to be balanced, all of those sorts of things wasn't good for me. And so in doing 100 Not Out, and I thank you for this, Piercy, you've actually enabled me to speak to people who have successfully aged, which I haven't yet. And they've been much more relaxed around their diet, around their lifestyle. Yes, there's some rituals. Yes, there's some things that they are not, there's some non-negotiables. But for me, in doing the longevity experiences, going to Greece, hanging out with you, doing 100 Not Out every single week for 8 years, I've learned that it's better to be kinder to yourself. That's what I'm thinking.
That is so good. Yeah. That is so good. And people, listeners and viewers on our Facebook channel, that's at 100 Not Out, or one word, they're popping in their gold nuggets. Pete Lennon says, mine was hearing about rites of passage with Anna Rubinstein. Well, Pete, I think that was on the Wellness Guys.
Yeah,
that's very good that it was.
Thanks, Pete.
Well
that
done.
was on the Wellness Guys.
And Pete is taking his 17-year-old this April to Anna's. And I think, Damo, I don't know if I told you this, we're interviewing Anna at the end of this month. On 100 Not Out.
I haven't spoken to Anna for years. Yeah, well, Pete, I took Jackson to that. I took my son on that experience, the rites of passage thing with Anna. And he ran that through Jackson's school, because that was the school that Anna used to go to. And it was one of the greatest things ever for Jackson and me, like together as a team. Like, it was one of the greatest things we could have ever done. So absolutely, I love that you're going to do that. That's the best. So good. I love that. Piercy, tell me about your golden nugget. Obviously, I just want to go back to Pete's comment back here. He said that Bali and Santorini and Machu Picchu have all been overlooked by tourists in recent years. I thought that was hilarious. I like that. Pete's pretty funny. We should have him on as a special guest one day.
We will.
Julie Hill.
We'll have an all attender, like a Zoom meeting.
That'd be nice.
We'll have a love-in.
That'd be nice. Julie Hill. The purpose is joy in this lifetime, which I really love. Like, joy. Like, make things joyous. Imagine if life was just tough all the time and you didn't know the joy in life. That wouldn't be any good. If something feels like a chore, let it go. Interesting, before the dip, another shout out to Mari and Ravi. They spoke about that this morning. I think it's their 6th episode for the year, the 6th weekly episode for the year, and we're, 15 weeks into the year or whatever it is. They're a long way behind. But anyway, Piercy, what was your gold nugget?
Before I do, I was writing down your answers, and I think that when you were saying it, I feel I have memories, distinct memories, that we interviewed 10 or 12 people in 2 days. In our first 2 days, I still remember it to this day. There was DeMartini, Tommy Hafey,
yes,
Mimi Kirk, Jagger, your mate from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Like the first 10, you can't even find them on podcasts, Apple Podcasts anymore. You have to do it through, the website, thewellnesscouch.com or damianchristoph.com, wherever you go. But what I remember was you and I going, we're so wrong.
So wrong.
Me raging vegan, so wrong. You thinking food was the big thing, so wrong. We're both looking at each other going, neither of us are right. There's something else. And you hit the nail on the head. It's the attitude of the graceful ages, that they allow themselves to relax more, which ties into what Julia's saying. They give themselves permission to feel joy. It's not that their life is beautiful all the time, but they see the beauty in even the toughest times. And they've got this. And Ikaria, and I know we bang on about it all the time, and I'm sure we'll experience this together in Byron Bay in a couple of months' time, but Ikaria was almost is like a defrag, because they are so relaxed, and it takes some time to fall into that culture of relaxation. Do you remember, we'd still talk about it today, like your coffee experiences in your career, going, like, how long does it take to make a coffee?
Where's my coffee? 45 minutes down the line. Yeah.
They're so just relaxed, and they're just so. Yeah. And it's not island time. It's like, it's Ikaria time. It's completely different. It's like island time on steroids. It's next level.
Yes.
And I think, you mentioned diet and exercise and biohacking and all of these things. They've all been discussed on this podcast a number of times dozens of episodes. But like you said, what you said, and you really resonated with a number of people here, just being kind in each scenario, and which is almost an absence of judgment. It's a massive shift for people. People today are, society thrives on labels and outrage. To get past that,
Yeah.
39, I'm too old, this is wrong, that's right, this is good, this is bad. Like, to transcend that, I think is huge. And I think, your answer is it's very poignant for people. I think for me, it's actually been the understanding and the belief, and it comes back to my very first epiphany in this whole space was just the power of attitude. So my whole epiphany was, no matter what you eat, how you move, how much money's in the bank, how many friends you've got, your attitude about your future and your life will take or add, subtract or add 7.5 years to your life. That was my whole epiphany. And I feel like we get reminded of that every time we interview a graceful ager, whether they're 35 and graceful or 95 or 105 and graceful. Like, their attitude around their now and their future is everything. And in Ikaria, they're so happy to be in there now. And a lot of people are so agitated. They're either anxious about the future or they're guilty about the past, and they feel no sense of joy, to bring in what Julie Hill just said. They feel no sense of joy in the now. And I feel like our guests are constant reminders to that way of being. And I feel like as our friendship has developed, that you and I, we like to meet in that place. And that's what we love to enjoy together with our events and our time in the flesh together. Because it's something that is difficult, and maybe this is all of our growth, it's difficult to experience with everyone. It's something that you feel a connection with a select few. Not to say that you can't feel it with everyone, but it's something that you feel that with certain others. So that's been my big, I suppose, ownership over the last 8 years.
I love that. Can I ask you two questions? There was getting back to 7.5 years, adding or subtracting 7.5 years. Does the addition of the half year to the 7, which is your magic number, feel uncomfortable to you? How does that feel to you?
Look, I'm always 7 plus or minus 1 or 2. I'm not really too attached, so no, I'm happy to let that one go through to the keeper. Okay. I'll let the research speak for itself.
I know how much you love 7.
I'm obsessed with it.
And then the second question was going back to all of that. Like, obviously, we're talking about ebbs and flows, and trying to like specificity of your approach. Like, I've become more relaxed, right? So, but the comment to me that was this, it's probably not even scientific, but it was John Demartini saying less. Like a direction that's like more direct, less fluctuations, less variance, less variability, less volatility. That's the word. Thank you. Less volatility was the secret. He said you're going to travel the same distance, right? The more volatile you are, the further away you get away from the arrow. You'll still travel the same distance, but the harder it is to get there. And so, yes, you're enjoying the journey, all that sort of thing, but volatility. Avoidance was the key. The key, volatility, avoidance.
That's so good. And it really does tie into, again, every episode, no doubt in my mind, is related to every other episode. But, we've spoken a number of times with you about crack your stress code and how to actually navigate through that process. And I know I always get the steps mucked up. I always think there's 6 and there's 4 or there's 5 and there's 7 and the rest. But I muck it up. But I often think about those. We did a double episode. It was like episode 35 and 36 or something, and it still reminds me of that stress is a sign of caring. Yes. So don't remove stress, but become far more aware of it and cultivate a relationship with it that allows you to reduce that volatility, because so many people are so reactive to their stress rather than owning. And I think you've taught me in a really great way, like how to say when you're not okay, to go like, I'm struggling, it's all going wild, I'm overwhelmed, I can't keep up, all of those things. I'm tired, I'm energetic, whatever it is. But I definitely feel that the more episodes of this that we've done, and hopefully our listeners and viewers feel the same, is that these episodes have allowed people to embrace their stress, but at the same time, embrace it in such a way that they've allowed it to reduce the volatility that they feel within themselves around it all.
Yeah, I hope so too, mate. I hope so too. Ravi actually asked a great question here. He says, don't you reckon we're addicted to the volatility? And I think you're right, Ravs, but I think what we actually see here is that people are addicted to the poles, like the polar extremes, the right, the wrong, the good, the bad, that is, I suppose, the volatility, and exactly what Marcus was saying before in terms of what gets news. It's the drama, the trauma, or the peace, love, and unicorns. It's the extremes. It's not the happiness. It's not the colors in between the black and the white. It's just the edges, and so I think people like to be there because it gets a reaction. And it gets likes on Facebook or it gets likes on Instagram. If it's something that's absolutely magical and beautiful, then it gets a like. If it's something that's absolutely horrendous, then it gets a comment. But if it's just, par for the course, no one really talks much about it. So I don't know if it's addicted. I think people are addicted to, not to the volatility, but to the reaction that the volatility gets. So if you're part of a club or you're part of a tribe or you're part of a cohort of people, maybe a Facebook group, a cohort of people that march in a particular way, that strikes up a conversation, and that conversation is what people are addicted to, not necessarily, the being part of the cohort, but it's the conversation that brings, I think.
And I think the drama.
The drama.
I'm going to get into media mode in a minute because I'm going to say we're addicted to the drama because that's what sells movies and books. Yes. So it should. That's, no one's going to watch it if it's sunshines and picnics, but that's okay.
Or rainbows and unicorns. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I need to go. We need to wrap this up. I need to go because Derby Damo is in under 8s footy training.
Oh, has he got a Richmond jumper on?
He's got a Brunswick Valley Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Which is sad that they're not the Brunswick Valley Demons, but it's time to wrap up.
Yeah.
Our 8th birthday episode because I need to go to footy training. But what I would like to say is if people, because there has been a lot of love on the Facebook community here that have been watching, and what I would like to say is that if you've loved this conversation, these are the conversations that we genuinely have on a daily basis on our longevity experiences. This is the stuff that we love to develop. We love to indulge in, and we love to do it over good food and good wine and good company. So if you are interested in joining us in Byron Bay, May 16 to 22 this year, please go to 100notout.com and apply to join us. It is a maximum of 16 attendees, and there aren't 16 spaces because a number of those spaces are filled by people that were due to come to Ikaria and Sardinia with us last year. But it's all live. It's up and running. Applications can be filled out now at 100notout.com. Damo, it has been an absolute joy to have this experience with you for 8+ years. I know we couldn't have done it without our listeners and our viewers. Cecilia Ballesteros is in the Facebook building, as is Bron Leister, Debbie Walters. There's a lot of regulars in there, and it's been an absolute joy, Damo.
I know it has been. It's been amazing, and thank you. I'm looking forward to the next big chunk of time, whether it's 8 years or 16 more years. I don't know what podcast is going to be like in 16 years' time. How do you listen to a podcast in 8 years' time? But, mate, thank you so much for starting this. Thank you so much for revving me up. I actually was going to pull out the video that you first gave me, the DVD that you first gave me to watch. In fact,
the DVD, that's how long ago it was when we started 100 Not Out.
I'm going to get it. Hang on.
DVD.
I know you've got to go to the footy. I know you've got to go
That's
to
all
the
right. Just in case anyone doesn't find it, it's the 100 Plus Club. It's an ABC documentary featuring the only man still alive in that documentary is Dexter Kruger, he's now Australia's oldest human being because out of all men and women, Dexter Kruger is still standing at 111. We've got to get him back on again. Ruth Frith was in the 100 Plus Club. She's been featured on 100 Not Out. She died at 104, and the other female in that documentary has passed away. So Dexter is last man standing.
Yep, and I can't find it. I thought it was over there. Anyway, for all of that rev up. Rah! Sorry about that.
Right.
I stuffed that up.
You'll find it.
Visual gag.
We interviewed Mandy Lake, who made that documentary, and it is available online. So the 100 Plus Club. Derby is in the driveway. I must run to all of our 100 Not Out supporters. We love you. Make sure you get on over to DamienChristoff.com to find out more about Damo. For Marcus Pearce, or for myself, go to marcuspearce.com.au. And until next time, episode 417 it will be. Continue to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Bye for now. So good.
All right.
Happy birthday, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us with chat,
everybody.
but obviously football call. So off you go, Piercy. Big hugs to Derby and to the family. And thank you, everybody, for joining in. It was really great to have you all there.
See you guys.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.